श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम सच्चिदानंदरूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदांतवेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे. So yesterday we were seeing Esha me sarva dharmanam dharmo dhikatamo matah yat bhaktya pundarekaksham sarstave arche narasada. This shloka, we have seen the meaning of the shloka. We were seeing the bhashya. Yad bhaktya, bhakti with whose, because of whose devotion. Your devotion means tatparya. The word tatparya generally means purport, the inner meaning. But here tatparya means tatparata, being involved in it, established in it. In whom? Pundarika aksham. Pundarika aksham. There are two words. Pundarika means the hriday pundarika. The pundarika means lotus. The lotus of heart. Okay. Then aksham. Akshati. Here aksham means not ice, that which pervades. Okay. So that which is shining in the heart of lotus. Lotus of heart. That is why, who is shining there? Vasudevam. Who is Vasudeva? We are not talking about the Saguna Brahman. When we say Vasudeva, Vasudevasya apatyam bhuman, we are not saying he is son of Vasudeva. No, here Vasudeva is the Brahman itself. Okay, so another name for Brahman is Vasudeva here. Now, gunas, how should we be establishing him? Stavaihi asada archet. Through extolling, through the statements of extolment, you have to always worship him. So, who? Naraha. Naraha means Manushya, he said. But we already said Manushya is just an upalakshana. It's just a pointer to the other beings also. Okay? How do you know this? That we have to worship him. What is so great about him? So the greatness is Himsadi Purushandra Dravyantra Deshakaladi Nimanapekshatavam Adikya Karma. There is no dependence on anything like the himsa, etc., violence, etc., violence or purushantara, dependence on another person, dravyantara, dependence on another object, deshakala, the time, space, etc. There is no dependence upon any of these rules. Therefore, it is a superior. How do you know this? It said this practice is superior. How do you know this? It is said in the Puranas. He says, Dhyayan krite yajan yajnaihi tretayam dvaparayarchayan yadapnoti tadapnoti kalau sankirtya keshavam. Dhyayan krite yajan yajnaihi tretayam dvapare archayan yadapnoti tadapnoti kalau sankirtya keshavam. Krute dhyayan. Krute, dukring karane. This is the root word. Dukring karane, to do. So, from that krute, don't bring like that. The root word is that. This is not a krute, seventh case of krita. Seventh case of the krita, to do, doing. This is seventh case of krita yuga. Krita here is yuga, krita yuga. That's the first yuga, Satya Yuga, or you can call it a Satya Yuga. Okay. So, in Satya Yuga, dhyayan, by meditating. That does not mean they won't do anything else. Dhyana itself is a superior practice there, because people had so much of purity of heart. The purity becomes lower in Kali Yuga. The lowest point of peak of purity is Kali Yuga. Okay. There, the purity is more. That is why, if you want to be born in, they were born in, but you were also born in, but you didn't understand the truth, you lost the chance, you are now in Kali Yuga. Okay, if you still want to be born again in Satya Yuga, if you want to be born in, then you can practice and be born in. But how can I be born in Satya Yuga? Because now it is Kali Yuga, right? In this cycle, in this creation, you are in Kali Yuga. There are. This is not the only creation for our Sanatana Dharma. There are hundreds of thousands of creations, innumerable creations like this. Many Satyugas, many Krita Yugas, many Dwapara Yugas, many Treta Yuga, and many Kali Yugas. Many of them are there. So if you have enough punya, you can choose a better Kali Yuga or Treta Yuga or Dwapara Yuga or Satya Yuga according to your karma. Okay, so dhyayan, by doing dhyana itself, meditation itself, they can achieve things. Tretaya yajnehi yajan. In the Treta Yuga, by performing the fire oblations, they do it. That's why Rama was asked by Vishwamitra to be his watchman, guard, while he performs the fire oblation. Okay, Treta Yuga, in Treta Yuga. Dwapare Archayan. In Dwapara Yuga, through Archana, through worship, singing the greatness. Yadapnoti, whatever you gain, tadapnoti kalau. That you will gain in when? Where? Kalau, in the Kali Yuga. How? Sankirti Keshavam, by singing the praise of Keshava. Keshava means, Keshava is Krishna's another name, Vishnu's another name. Keshava can mean one who has a big hair, okay, beautiful hair, big hair, or Keshava also with respect to Vishnu, Krishna, one who destroyed the demon, lady demon called Keshi. One who destroyed the lady demon called Keshi is Keshava. Okay, now Keshava here is a Brahman. Iti Vishnu Purana Vachana. Vishnu Purana says this. In this Bhashya, you can see a lot of references from Puranas. No other Bhashya will have so many references except for Shvetashvatara Upanishad. That is why Shvetashvatara Upanishad Bhashya is not accepted to be a Bhashya written by Bhagavan Bhashyakara by some of the sadhus. Part of them accept it to be his, part of them not to be his. Okay, now Japye naivatu samsiddhyet brahmano natra samshayah kuryat anyat nava kuryat maitro brahmana uchyate. Japyena evatu samsiddhyet brahmanah na atra samshayah kuryat anyat nava kuryat maitro brahmana uchyate. Through the japa itself, the Brahmins can gain the establishment, the accomplishment, samsiddhi, accomplishment. Kuryad anyad nava kuryad. Whether he performs the other things or not does not really matter. It is immaterial. Does that mean oh, thanks Guruji. Why? I don't have to practice any of the Sandhya etc. No, there is no choice there in Sandhya etc. Sandhya etc. are Nitya karmas which are prescribed duties you have to perform. Only after performing them the japa is said. Okay, so you don't have to perform the fire oblation etc. Just do japa, that is enough. Because Maitro Brahmana Uchyate, that is called as friend of Brahmin. Japa is called as friends of Brahmin. Iti Manu Vachana. This is from Manu Smriti. Manu Maharaj says this. And Japastu sarvadharmebhyah paramo dharma uchyate ahimsya bhutanam japayajyah pravartate iti Mahabharata. In Mahabharata it is said. What is it? Japastu sarvadharmebhyah paramo dharma uchyate ahimsya bhutanam japayajyah pravartate. We have heard ahimsa paramo dharma. The superior dharma is ahimsa, non-violence. Non-violence is the absolute dharma, superior dharma. Now he says, japaha sarva dharmebhyo paramo dharma. Japa is superior than any other dharma. Why? Because it is a dharma where everything is performed in non-violent way. That is why japa yajna is greater. And yajnanam japa yajñosmi iti bhagavad vachana. And Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita, he very clearly says in 10th chapter, Yajnanam japa yajñosmi. Among the yajnas, I am the japa yajna. See, in everything, in the month, I am the Margashirsha, I am the Margashirsha month, etc. He will give very, very clearly. Kind of in anything, whatever is superior, that is me. That is how it is said there. Whatever is greater in whichever, that is me. Or see this to be greater. because it is me. So there was this boy who came to me and he said, while chanting this, he said, Swamiji, Guruji, there was no football during Krishna's period. I said, no, no, no. They used to play with the flower. They'll roll flower. They used to use that as a basketball or volleyball, probably football also. Probably it was there. They had vast lands and all that. So probably they had football also. No, 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 no. Football was not there. How can you be so sure? I asked. He said, if football was there, he should have said, in the among the games, I am football. Okay, so yajnanam japa yajñosmi, he says, I am the japa yajna. So the archet, the word archa, it has become japa. Okay, so japa is the important thing here. Perform the japa, that is what the idea is. Yeda sarvam aviprete, with all these in mind, he says, Yesha me sarva dharmanam dharmo dikatamo mataha. This is what, according to me, is the superior of dharma, doing the japa. Pundarikaksham. We already said this is the answer to the fifth question, Paramadharma, regarding the superior dharma. Okay. Now, Yad Pundarika Aksham. Pundarika Aksham. Pundarika means we already saw the heart. Heart means the mind, the inner sense organ, the mind. Mind, buddhi, ahankara, chitta, whatever, it is all same, right? So we are talking about that. So there, tad akshnoti, that mind, one akshnoti, vyapnoti, one akshnoti means aksha means vyapa, to pervade. One who pervades the mind. You are talking about the self, right? Yes. Self is all pervading, omnipresent. Yes. And then why you have to say it is pervading the mind? Nice question. The thing is, the pervasion we are talking about, though self is all pervading, this manifests only in the heart, because the heart is the place where your ignorance is residing. You are prevented from seeing the truth. Therefore, in that very place where there was darkness, the light is seen. That is what. That is why it manifests in that place. Therefore, it is called as a Hridaya Pundarikaksha. Pundarikaksha. Okay. Now, Archet, Sada Archet, always do. Why do you have to say always do? Like an order. It's an order because it is from the tense called ling. Okay, it's a tense where we talk about orders. Now, there is sutra in Panini. Vidhi nimantrana amantrana adishta samprashna pararthneshu linga. Vidhi, nimantrana, amantrana, adishta, samprashna, prarthaneshu. In all these places, you have this usage of ling tense. Okay. Now, here it is used in the sense of adhishta. Adhishta means prerana. Prerana means to guide you, to prod you to perform things. The Ishvara, he prods you by sitting inside, he prods you to perform the things. That is why it is a use. Archet, he prods you, do this, not orders you, he prods you. Okay. Then Dravyantra, etc. It is superior because it does not depend upon the himsa, etc. What is that? Himsa. See, in the performance of fire oblations, there is a fire oblation called Jyotishtoma Pashummalabhe. Through the Jyotishtoma, use the cattle, parts of cattle used for the fire oblation. So you have to kill a cow. Now, Kapinjalani Jeta, there is another called Kapinjalani Jeta. Kapinjala means the sparrows. Use the sparrows. Doves as the three numbers. So, plural, you don't have to kill everything in the world. Otherwise, the other fellows will not be able to perform. So, three. Use three for performing. So, all this kind of violence is there. No. I'm using just the ghee, clarified butter. That's all. Even then, there is a violence because you have to sit. You have to pour the ghee in the fire. Now, pouring the ghee also, people use it like they hold a ladle to kindle the food material or do something in the oil pan, frying, etc. Like holding it from the tip. That is not how you have to hold. You have to hold it in this middle and using the Hamsa Mudra. There is a mudra called Hamsa Mudra. You have to use that Hamsa Mudra for holding the ladle. Now, this many of these people now they don't know, they are doing just some stupid yaga. Anyway, so there, even though you use only clarified butter ghee, what happens? Nana Swaha, Nana Swaha, Swaha. If you are going to throw in saying Swaha, 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 suddenly you will be, did I pour it and say Swaha, or before Swaha, or after Swaha, or while doing Swaha? Sometimes you don't know whether you coordinated with the chant or not, because your mind is fatigued, repeating the same thing. And your shoulders and hands start paining because of throwing this movement, same movement. Okay, you are not moving anything else, only your hand. So that also is himsa. That is also torture, violence. Okay. Now, Purushantra. For performing the fire oblation, etc., you need to have another Brahmin, Ritvik, we call them. So you need to have them. Dependence there. Dravyantara. For doing a fire oblation, you need to have the Purodasha, etc. Havis, we call it. Or clarified butter itself is another dravya, right? So you need to depend upon another something, some other fire oblation materials. No material is dependent here. Desha Kaladi, facing the south, facing the north, facing the east, facing the west, only this side, you should not face south side, etc. There are rules. Okay, and it should be done only during this period, not in that period, etc. There are rules for time also. So time space, no, none of these rules are applied in the japa, in this stava archa. Okay, that is why it is superior. But desha kaladi niyama, desha kala etc. niyama. Why do you have to say etc.? Because adhikari, eligible seeker, there is no rule for eligible seeker also. That is why when he said naraha, naraha means manushyaha, humans. Now he says adi with adi, you have to take it as the eligible seeker. Therefore, anyone who has the ability to ask for help is a seeker here. A seeker here. Okay. Next. Next, the parāyaṇa. The question regarding the parāyaṇa, that is answer. Paramam yo mahattejaḥ. Paramam yo mahattejaḥ. Paramam yo mahattejaḥ. Paramam yo mahattapaḥ. Paramam yo mahattapaḥ. Paramam yo mahattapaḥ. Paramam yo mahattejaḥ. Paramam yo mahattapaḥ. Paramam yo mahattejaḥ. Paramam yo mahattapaḥ. If you are going to chant it continuously, Paramam yo mahattejaḥ. Paramam yo mahattapaḥ. If you are breaking it, Paramam yo mahattejaḥ. Tejaḥ paramam. Tejaḥ paramam. That is the difference. Okay. Paramam yo mahadbrahma. Paramam yo mahadbrahma. Paramam yo mahadbrahma. Paramam yah parāyaṇam. If you chant it continuously, paramam yah parāyaṇam. Okay. Paramam yah parāyaṇam. Paramam yah parāyaṇam. Paramam yo mahadbrahma. Paramam yah parāyaṇam. Paramam yo mahadbrahma. Paramam yah parāyaṇam. Paramam yo mahattejaḥ. Paramam yo mahattapaḥ. Paramam yo mahadbrahma. Paramam yah parāyaṇam. Paramam yo mahattejaḥ. Paramam yo mahattapaḥ. Paramam yo mahadbrahma. Paramam yah parāyaṇam. The supreme abode, which is the absolute abode, which is the supreme one. That supreme one is the greatest effulgence, the greatest presence. Tapas is also referred to as a different meaning. The greatest ruler, that is the absolute self. and that is the supreme abode. Okay. Now, bhashya. Dvidiyam prashnam samadhatte. The second question is answered here. Paramam. He always used to say parihriyate, resolved. Now he is not saying resolved, he is saying answered. Okay. Paramam prakrishtam. Paramam means superior. Prakrishtam, uttamam, great, superior. Mahat means big. Brihat. Brihat also is big. Tejaḥ means effulgence. Now he says Chaitanya Lakshanam of the nature of a consciousness. Why do you say this? Sarvabhasakam, it is that which is bringing effulgence to everything. We are not talking about a general brightness. We are talking about the great effulgence, self-effulgence, which is giving effulgence to everything else. How do you know that this is consciousness bringing effulgence to everything else? Because it is said, Yena Surya Tapati Teja Yuddha. Taittiriya Brahmana says, Yena Surya Tapati Teja Yuddha. Which, because of which the sun shines. Because of the shine of this self. Tejsa Yuddha means the effulgence of this self. Okay. Illumined by this. Yuddha means illumined. Illumined by the effulgence of this, the sun shines. Tad deva jodijam jyotihi ayurha upasate amritam. Tad eva or tad deva. There are two readings. Tad deva, tad eva, if you say that alone. Tad deva means that self effulgence, that absolute. Okay. Jyotisham, jyoti is the effulgence among the effulgence, the superior among the effulgence, the effulgence of effulgence. Ayurha upasate amritam. That is what is worshipped as a Ayuhu and Amritam, life and eternity. And another mantra. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandratarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyo magnihi tamayo bhantamanubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidum bhati. This is a common mantra from Mundaka Upanishad. This is a common mantra which is chanted while we show the harati. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandratarakam na ima vidyuto bhanti kuto ayam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam bhati. What is the meaning? Why should we chant this mantra during the harati, during the showing the camphor? It says na tatra suryo bhati. The sun does not shine there. See, when the sunshine is very in its peak, and we don't even know if the matchstick is burning or not, the paper is burning or not. So, in front of that great sun shining, that effulgence, the sun also will be without shine. Na chandra tarakam, not the moon, not the stars. That they don't shine too. They don't illumine the self. Na ima vidyutaha, not even this lightning. Lightning is for a split second, but still it is so powerful. Sometimes it blinds people. So even that light, which is so powerful, cannot illumine this. Kuto ayam agnihi bhanti. How can this small camphor light, the fire, how can this illumine? Why can't it illumine that self? Because tameva bhantam anubhati saram. Because of its effulgence, self-effulgence of that self, everything else shines. Tasya bhasa sarvamidvati. Because of its effulgence, everything is seen as effulgent, not of its own. Iti ityadi shruti. All these shruti establish that the self is a self-effulgent. Yada adityagadam tejaha ityadi smrtisya. And smrti also says, in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Yada adityagadam tejo jagat bhasete ikilam yat chandramasi yat jagno tat tejo vidhimamakam. The similar idea of the Mundaka Upanishad. Yadu adityagatam tejaha jagat bhasete akhilam. That sun, the effulgence of the sun, the shine of the sun, which illumines everything, the whole world. Yat chandramasi yat jagno. That which is in the moon and that which is in the fire, that illumines in the world. Tat tejaha, that shine, that effulgence, vidhi mamakam. See, understand it to be from me. Okay, mine. It is mine. That shine is, that effulgence is mine. Paramam tapaha. Paramam yo mahattapaḥ is saying. Paramam tapaha. Tapaha means tapati ajñāpayati tapaha. Tapaha normally is penance. Here tapati ajñāpayati. That which orders, rules. That which guides you. Okay? How do you know that it rules? It guides. Because it is said, ya imam cha lokam cha param cha lokam sarvāni cha bhūtāni yondro yamayati. Vradānika Upanishad. Vitti antaryami brahmane sarva niyantrattam shuvate. In the Antaryami Brahmana, this portion is called as Antaryami Brahmana because it is talking about the inner self which rules us, which guides us. Therefore, it is a Antaryami Brahmana. Ya imam lokam cha param cha lokam. That which orders it, that which guides this world and the other worlds and the people of those worlds, all the worlds, is this is the one which sits inside all this and guides. See, the sun, moon, etc., they are taking their own path. The moon or the earth, the other planets, Mars, etc., they take their own path. They don't change the path. They don't back up. They don't stop. Nothing. They just keep doing their job. Because the self sits there and guides it in the proper path. Okay? Iti antara. And existence itself is the fear. That is why he said, Bhishas madvadah pavate bhishodeti suryaha. If he is going to sit inside, then he is doing something, right? Even in Mahabharata, at the end period, when Duryodhana, the antagonist, he is dying. When he is asked, he says, Janami dharmam nachame pravrittihi, janami adharmam nachame nivrittihi, kenapi devene hrudi stitene yatha niyojiti tatha karomi. I know what dharma is, but I can't perform. I know what adharma is also, non-dharma is also, but I cannot recluse myself from performing. Why? Because some deity, some God from inside, he is guiding me. Whatever he is guiding me, I am just doing that. That's all. So here, Bhishas madvadah pavate bhishoditi surataitra Upanishad. Because of the fear of this self, this wind flows, the sun shines, the sun emerges. Why to talk about other things? Even the god of death, whom everyone is afraid of this self. Ityadi Taitrike. This Taitrika Upanishad also says. Tapati ishte iti tapa. Or tapa can, instead of niyamati, you can also understand as ishte, one who rules. Okay? Tasya aishvaryam anavacchinnamiti mahattam. Mahat paramaṃ yo mahattejaḥ param yo mahattapaḥ. Mahat, why do you have to say great? Because its greatness is not limited, unlimited greatness. That is why it is called as a mahat. How do you know this? Yesh sarveshvara, yesh sarvantaryami, etc. Shruti says, ityadi shrutehe. This is the ruler of everyone. This is the indweller in everyone, etc. Paramam yo mahadbrahma. Paramam. Paramam means satyadi lakshanam param brahma. Paramam mahadbrahma. Paramam brahma, you said. Param brahma. This Brahman, which is of the inherent nature of existence, knowledge, bliss. That is what Satyadi Lakshanam. Lakshanam is Swarupam. Okay? Mahaniyataya Mahat. It is mahadbrahma. Why do you have to say called Mahat? Because Mahaniyataya, Pujaniyataya, it is something which is worshipable. Okay? Therefore, it is Mahat, superior. Paramam Prakrishtam Punaravritya Shanka Varjitam. That is supreme abode. Why do you have to call it supreme abode? Because there is no doubt regarding coming back after that. Nachas punaravarte, nachas punaravarte. Shruti says very clearly, he does not come back after attaining that, after gaining that substratum, the knowledge of substratum, establishing in the substratum. Parāyaṇam, paramam, param, ayanam, parāyaṇam. The supreme abode, the ultimate substratum. That is what is called as parāyaṇam. Paramagrahanat sarvatra aparamam tejaha adityadikam yavartate. By saying parama, superior, we are removing it, we are differentiating it from the inferior effulgence like a sun, etc. Okay? Sarvatra yo deva iti visheshyate. In all these places, because ko deva sarvadharmanam, that is the question. Who is that deva? Who is superior in among all the dharmas, etc. Now, he says, Sarvatra Deva. You have to add that Deva in all this because question is about that Deva, that God. So we have to associate with all the answer here. What is that? How? He says, Yo Devaha Paramam Tejaha. That God, that deity, that God who is a superior effulgence or paramam tapaha, that God who is a superior ruler, yo devaha paramam brahma, that God which is the supreme self, yo devaha paramam parāyaṇam, that God which is the supreme abode, sa ekam parāyaṇam iti, that one is the absolute, that is one non-dual absolute abode. That is the idea, that is the vakya, that is the sentence, the idea of the sentence. Okay, sa ekam parāyaṇam, sa ekam, by that mahavakya is that is one non-dual self over. Okay, we will see this. Om purnamadah purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnameva vashishyate. Om shanti shanti shanti.